have to be
John.
in bed. You just
You will keep me awake. If you stay here till 10, I'm going to come out of the shower naked and just walk around and just
really not
flash
going to bother me. That's the sad thing.
I'm going to flash all of you. If you're going to be here, you're going to make me wear clothes in my own house.
Jumps through a window. Oh, this is my cue to get out.
You guys you guys got a hotel room when you went.
We did, yes.
Oh God, that's where we're going to Scarface already.
Was there a lot of John Wang, John?
John's John.
I brought my bathrobe, and I was walking around like Hugh Hefner in a black bathrobe.
Yeah, I literally didn't expect it. I'll be honest. I didn't expect it at all. He literally came out. I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
I didn't expect any of us to be walking around shirtless as often as we were. That was.
I expected to swim once. Did I? No, because I was too tired.
What the fuck you guys been doing?
Shirts were the only thing that was missing. It was cold outside, hot in the hotel. It's what you supposed to do.
And I left a pair
When
of
did you
shoes.
guys play Denver?
October 7th and 8th.
Yeah.
Is that your first or second time out there?
First?
Yeah, it's a first.
First, okay. I could have swore it was your second time out there.
It won't be the last.
It won't be.
Nice.
Are they planning on next year right now?
Definitely.
Yeah. What are you guys planning on next year?
Well, what's in the works right now is North Carolina, Virginia, Florida, Chicago in April, and back to Colorado. That's pretty much the big runs. We'll probably do smaller runs, like on a Friday, Saturday. We hit like Joplin, Springfield, come home.
Texas now.
We hit St. Louis, Texas. I mean, we could go to Texas with pigweed, but
Dallas is actually closer than Denver is.
let's see, where did
Driving.
somebody told me a couple of good places to play in Texas, and I want to say Joe and Coventry Sacrifice. Those guys were telling me. I can't remember. It wasn't like. Can't remember what city it was. It wasn't San Antonio.
Was it Houston?
Might have been Houston.
Who the hell was South by Southwest always at? Is that Houston?
Might have
Austin?
been. No, Austin. They're telling me Austin has a big scene.
Yeah. Well, what is it? With Texas, you have Dallas, Austin, San Antonio. I don't know how big El Paso is, but you have like 7 or 8 giant cities right there. So
one state.
You could really just do like a Texas tour and deal with all that Texas traffic, which I'll hear.
That's the only crap part.
We don't drive defensively. We drive offensively.
I lived in Dallas for 2 years. You drive offensively, not defensively.
Best defense is a good offense. You got to outscore your opponent.
I do every day.
I turned my turn signal on. This is not me asking. This is a suggestion.
It's myself.
What was it you said? I turned my turn signal on. This is not me asking. This is a suggestion.
This isn't a suggestion. I'm coming.
This is an order.
I'm telling you, it's happening.
Yeah.
Had to do that in Dallas, just between Fort Collins and Denver. Was that way because of the construction. Jesus Christ.
Yep. Some bitch almost cut us off. It's real bad. Real bad.
Was I asleep during that?
Probably.
Maybe because it might have been when John and I think about committing homicide because you were stinking up the car. Now you sleep. Nah, that was the way home.
That was
like half
on the way.
That's one of the famous. I'm a kill him.
I'm gonna kill him.
Oh man.
I still can't believe I missed that. I literally woke up to Doug just.
Grab the wheel, John.
Yeah, but I did it first. I did it first.
Yeah, I was asleep when you did, but when Doug did, I was like, "What's going on here?"
You were just sitting there, and I smell it. I'm just like, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him.
Crack the windows, hold the boy out.
Like 10 minutes later. 10 minutes later,
I wake up and
Doug was like, hold the wheel. I'm gonna kill him.
And I'm like, wait, what?
I actually like the light turn off thing with my Australian accent while we were still in business.
Yeah.
Oh, that was fucking cool.
Instantly.
Coming in the backseat as this bitch goes off.
Sorry.
Oh no, you're good, dude. Like,
We used to have good travel stories with our actual current band now.
Yes.
yeah, you can talk about travel stories. You can talk about, really anything you want as far as
Are we rolling right now?
Yes.
I would say something's wrong.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah.
That's also just a good way to start to like ease into like a conversation because there's like no pressure. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
for
Like,
sure.
yeah.
Like, We were just riffing, like, that's awesome.
That's good shit.
That was very good shit.
We've been joking about videotaping ourselves for a while because we do dumb shit all the
time. Oh, we do dumb shit all the time. Those two, more than anything.
Where's the video of the parking lot in Denver?
The older one beats the shit out of the younger one.
Older brother's like, dad's gotta beat the kid.
Can't take them anywhere. What happened? I farted.
You farted next to the car.
I turned around, you just ass first towards me, and I started running around the parking lot. You're following right behind me.
I came out of the fucking hotel room. There were people looking at you too. You dumb. I came out of the hotel room like, what in the fuck am I looking at here?
We were
just halfway across the parking lot.
Running backwards, I am faster than Luke.
All you hear from me, no, get away!
Yeah, I heard that, and I saw people driving by looking at you like you're fucking crazy.
Somebody called the cops. We just got out of there just in time.
We left you early.
See, that's why we had to bail out of Fort Collins so fast.
Somebody said there was a screaming woman over here.
There's a man chasing her backwards. Say that again.
Well,
he was running backwards towards her. And she was running away. I'm gonna need you to repeat that fucking part.
I'm gonna need to get some photo evidence of that.
You got this on video?
It's just one point, Tommy screamed, I'm gonna rape you. Look at his eyes.
Runs by the car.
Man,
I'm not a woman!
Yeah, dark brownish blonde hair, blue eyes, probably 6'2", 230 pounds. Just chasing a woman down ass first. I don't know how else to explain it.
So are you guys planning on recording before you go on another a trek, a long trek?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So our we want to do a full length album. It's going to be roughly 8 songs.
Long as fuck.
Yeah, it's still going to be like 40 minutes, 45 minutes worth of material, but we want to do an 8-song album. We had planned to start it a little earlier, but there's some things that have kind of come up, you know. The guy that we're working with, Benjamin Axel Harvey out of Kansas City, he had some equipment issues. He, something got broken, and he's also ordering some new, better equipment. So he's kind of out of commission for the month of November. So that kind of rules that out. Doug's got something going in early December. Ben has a show December 10th, so he's out that weekend. Luke's having surgery on the 14th, so he's going to be out for a little bit, not too much. But then immediately after that, you've got Christmas, you've got New Year's. So we figured it'd be around early January that we start recording the album.
Awesome. Where are you guys recording at?
Axel Harvey Studios in Kansas City.
Awesome. Dave, are you going to be a part of the recording sessions, or is there any pressure knowing this is the date that you have to be?
No, I'll be all right.
Have you just got it?
Yeah, I'll be all right. As long as we just keep working at it.
How long have you been in Torn Asunder?
This will be the technically 3rd week, but this is our 3rd time playing together as a band. So, 2 times a week.
Yeah,
make it last Thursday.
Back then we didn't have any of those songs when we first started out. So,
how long ago was that?
We started. So I started the band in May or June of 2018. Actually, I was playing in another local metal band with Dave called Moosebite at the time.
Oh yeah, Moosebite.
Yeah, I was playing in Moosebite, and I had written some songs before Moosebite, and I wanted to try to do something with those. So I started this project called Torn Asunder that I wanted to go. Well, I didn't know where I wanted to go with it because it was just supposed to be a one-man bedroom project. And then a friend of mine that I went to high school with, Kyle Montgomery, he hit me up and said, "Hey, do you want to jam sometime?" And I said, "Hey, I've got this band and I've got these songs that I've kind of been messing around with. So do you want to join Torn Asunder?" So Kyle joined, and we kind of took off from there. It was for a little while, it was just me and Kyle practicing in a freaking trailer in Elwood, Kansas. It was hot as shit.
Humble beginnings.
It was two guitar players with practice amps. Just little tiny 60-watt Marshall.
Yeah.
Just shit like that is how we started, and it was just me and Kyle jamming out. Funny story, we didn't use any of the songs that I wrote originally for it, but we broke down, used some riffs from some of those songs, but yeah, it took off, and it took on a new life of its own. We had kind of a rotating cast of different people. You know, we had Lucas Munoz, who currently plays in Dreams in Peril. He played both a third guitar for us and also played bass for us for a while.
Bass for a little bit.
Yeah, we had a guy named Trace Durham who played bass for us. We actually didn't have a drummer for years. Like, Luke is really our first drummer.
Program drums.
Yes, we used program drums for 2.5 years. And, you know, Kyle, he has a few kids with his girlfriend, and times got tough during the pandemic, and he ended up switching jobs, and it became impossible for him to really be in a band. So, luckily, like right before Kyle left, you know, I was singing and playing guitar at the same time. I tried to do that in Moose Bite, and that didn't work out so well. They brought in somebody that only was singing. Couldn't really compete with that, but that kind of, it gave me the motivation to like, so I took that as, the way I framed it in my head is somebody telling me that I couldn't do it, and so I did.
Now you have to do it.
Now I have to do it, and I did. That was literally the only reason, that was the only reason I played guitar and sang for like 2.5 years, and it was tough, because some of those riffs were pretty difficult, but there came a point where we were progressing, we were getting better, getting into just more odd time signatures, more complex music, and it was just like, I wasn't having fun anymore. I was trying to go on vacation, and I was freaking out because I couldn't practice my guitar, and it was at that point that I knew it's time to hang it up. So our bass player at the time, who was a local tattoo artist, Scott Patrolak, he briefly played for us in 2020, and Scott told me about a guy that he had previously been in a band with years ago named Doug Prokop. And I'm on my way to Lake of the Ozarks, and I texted Scott right then and there. I was like, hey, what's Doug Prokop doing nowadays? Can you hit him up, see if he'll come out and play with us? And sure enough, he did, and the rest is history. So when Kyle quit, shortly after Scott quit, it was actually just, for a while, it was me and Doug. That was it. Me and Doug, we were the last two standing, and we wrote, I mean, he wrote just brand new material that just it's different, and it's kind of the direction that we wanted to go as a band eventually, but I mean, we got there very quick with Doug at the helm handling most of the songwriting. I just write the vocal parts, write the lyrics, and he gives me a song and I finish it, you know?
Yeah.
And luckily, earlier this year, I think it was in March or April, we picked up Lucas Hendricks on drums. It's funny because he sent me a Facebook message because, so I had, back when I was between day jobs, I was a substitute teacher.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, I was. I was a substitute teacher, and I worked at Benton High School a lot. And what's funny is I had Lucas in class. No shit. I had him in class, and somehow he found out I was in a band.
What's the age difference between you guys?
I just turned 21.
Oh, you're a baby.
Yeah. I'm 30.
28.
Yep. Almost 29, but
37.
Oh, damn, I'm the oldest guy in the room.
Oh,
what's up, guys?
How old is Dave?
Yeah.
Almost 37.
Oh.
Oh, wait, how old are you?
Almost 37.
Oh, 37. Oh, I thought you said 32. Never mind.
No.
No.
37 in January.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I'm an old man almost.
No, I feel that.
I feel great for my age, actually.
Yeah, you're only as old as you feel.
Right.
So.
Which for me is not great. Like, try mid-40s. All the heat comes through.
Do you have anything to add, Doug, with your joining the band or bringing any new zest or influence or anything like that?
No, it was really weird. As far as like my influence was that really it was just that Kyle and I wrote about the same. Like, we even had a lot of the same influences. I think Kyle described it as prolific, like just the amount of music I can write in a very small amount of time. So John and I have been writing songs together since early 21, maybe like right before June, maybe.
Yeah.
So we have about 5 albums of material right now.
5 albums?
We probably have 50 songs
Yeah.
that are musically finished. Now I can't.
We don't have time to put lyrics to all that.
I don't write at the same pace that Doug does.
Would you set that up on that amp?
Yeah.
Just so I can catch you guys better.
Yeah, so I don't write at the same pace that Doug does. So I've finished like maybe 12 to 14 songs, somewhere in there. There's like 50 finished Torn Asunder songs.
Nice. So you guys really have your, you can really pick and choose the best, the
Oh, yeah.
heaviest, the...
Like right now we've got a pretty solid album layout, but we're looking at like half a dozen others that we're like, we're just going to put them together and play them live. Just so it's like, hey, you probably know everything on the album. You don't know any of these, so surprise.
Yeah, there's always singles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or do some separate digital singles or something like that too.
Yeah.
One of the things that really impressed me was,
Mike,
oh, it's fine. This can be edited out.
sorry, I had no idea.
This-
Sorry, my dad's gonna come drop off something later, and I don't know when later is, so it's just warning you.
Don't look at me. I didn't do nothing wrong.
So yeah, with 50 songs. 50
Pretty much. I mean, we probably won't use every single one of them, and I literally write like a new song every week.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's literally like a song per week for the last year.
One of the things that impressed me, because I saw you guys. You opened for Doyle, right?
That was a Moose Bite.
Was it a Moose Bite?
That was a Moose Bite, right?
No, Enforcer.
Yeah, we did open
Enforcer.
for Havoc, Warbringer, and Enforcer that night.
I remember Havoc too. We played for Havoc in this fight.
Yeah.
And Earth Moans, Doyle.
Earth
Moans, Earth Groans.
Earth Groans, Earth Moans, same night.
That guy's my vocal competition.
That was a long time.
It seemed like in that time, since then, you've progressed outside a little bit more of the deathcore box. Was that intentional? Because I noticed a lot of...
So I'm very heavy into progressive metal. Like actually, what made me pick up a 7-string probably 10 years ago almost was just that bands like Periphery and Monuments is the other one. I love playing the shit out of music that literally to most people probably wouldn't make any fucking sense. Coming up with different like synth sounds and just writing different styles and time signatures and stuff. So that's kind of where a lot of that comes from. Of course, the 8-string just kind of falls further in that category. And then like somewhere right before it became just John and I got big into a band called Shadow of Intent, which is a progressive deathcore band. So kind of the blend of what we were already doing plus the prog metal side of it. And I showed them to John. And then so we've kind of taken some influence from that. It's a pretty big blend of what the hell's the genre title we joke about having? Oh God.
Progressive melodic technical black and death gent.
Yeah.
John has that memorized. I don't.
He's got it down. I forget it. I'm the one that came up with it.
I want to put it on a shirt.
It needs to go on a shirt.
It's going on a shirt.
We need to make it an acronym so it's easier to remember. I don't know if
That's just going to be a
possible.
bunch of letters. Nobody's going to know what that means.
But so we kind of just ran with this obnoxious style of that's death metal, deathcore. I like even like you said, kind of gone away from that a little bit. Mm-hmm. To really it's just more of a. I'd say it's pretty well in the progressive metal / deathcore category, but you really can't tie any one track necessarily to a genre. And I kind of feel like that's kind of subconsciously my point. Is like to not get locked into a genre specifically.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. The bouncy synths, the that almost black metal tremolo picking that you do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very good. The can you tell me about the that that 10-minute song. What was the title?
Nothing to Exist For.
Nothing to Exist For.
So that one came together really oddly, but it actually was written from pieces of songs that I've had written over the last decade in different tunings that I then converted because they were all similar tempos, and then moved them all to the 8-string. And the intro I actually found was like a 2-minute, just this massive symphonic track that I had started with these heavy, low, wide bass layouts, like orchestral layers, and there's like multiple layers of violin quartets and piano, and then even just clean guitar in it. And that's just the first 2 minutes before he joins in with the bass guitar and the actual guitar, or the distorted guitar, which that's just the first 2.5 minutes, and then going from that, I mean, it's just a massive run of really, I mean, that's a good mix of gent and prog metal. Really, the whole track is with a much lower tuning and kind of pushing it into that death metal, deathcore boundary.
I was very surprised by it. It was almost like this a cosmic forest with just a band playing in it.
Yeah, it's there's a word I'm trying to think of for it.
Ethereal, ambient, kind of.
Ambient's a good one.
Cinematic.
Yeah, cinematic is another one. Yeah, it's really, it seems like John and I always kind of joke. It seems like every time we would write a track that we really liked, it's like we were pushing, like you would be taking a step onto the next stone. You were pushing yourself that much further in this direction, not necessarily knowing where you were going. But like so it was the first one we did was first song I wrote that Torn Asunder played was Godslayer, which is a very speed metally, choppy metalcore blended, trim picking melodic batch of whatever. I don't even know what to call it. It's just a lot of my influences in one track too. But it was the first one that I wrote that we all played together. In the what I argue is the original lineup, or at least when I joined, was Kyle, myself, John, and Scott. We played it live, and then right before kind of it became me and John, I wrote Eternity Collapse, which is the intro track that we always open with, and that one became. You could see the progression of that, and like I remember John on multiple occasions saying stuff like, "Every time I think you've written this really amazing track, it's like you write one more, and you're like, how do these keep getting better than the last one?" And what's odd is I don't even have like a process to write them. Like I can be sitting at work designing trucks for Altec and go, shit, I need a notepad right now.
That is no shit.
And I will write an entire song on a notepad.
Yeah.
Never touching a guitar or a computer.
Yeah, he's shown me these notepads, and there's numbers, there's X's, and I'm just like, is this a football play? Is this a ransom note? What is this? What am I looking at, Doug?
I don't see those papers there.
Yeah.
I got one.
Oh, he's got.
Are we gonna show one off?
That might actually be into. Nope, this is Protagony. That hasn't a new song.
A new song that we haven't
yet
finished, but
that's pieces of one.
See if you can make sense of that.
It's mostly chicken scratch, so good luck.
Jazz solo.
Yeah, that is in there. There will be some jazz and blues elements in some of our stuff too.
Oh yeah, shit, you guys are really genre bending, man.
Yeah, I like to joke that because my favorite influence is Slipknot, and I've always argued, and I've heard people say it in interviews with Slipknot, that you can't really tie them to a genre. So I've always joked that Slipknot should be the name of a metal genre. And it just basically is you play whatever the fuck you want to play.
Did you?
I like that.
Have you checked out the first the Slipknot EP, the Kill Mate?
Mate, Feed, Kill, Repeat.
NFKR.
Yep. It's been a while since I listened to it. Some of that stuff ended up being rewritten for their first album.
Especially order that back in the day, in like the early 2000s, it was really hard to get hold of.
They actually bought the barcode for that album.
Because they really
so they could name a song after it on there.
They really threw the kitchen sink with
Oh,
that album.
shit.
Jazz, funk, metal, like
Slap
it
bass.
had like.
Mm-hmm.
If you really listen to it, it'd have like subliminal messages in there. It'd be like George Burns from Slipknot or Simpsons talking to you. Or just listen to that album and just listen to it. And there's so many hidden things that they recorded into that. Or it's pretty cool. I liked it.
It's homework.
Yeah.
Homework for the listeners.
Yeah.
Check out the
You
first
really
Slipknot
listen
EP.
to it. Like all these
Check out all the Slipknot albums.
all of them.
So it's literally shaped how I play music and write songs. So if you're looking for a band that's probably the largest influence for at least the main writing of Torn Asunder, that's them. So, I mean, John, we've all got our influences. I know that Lucas is a big Slipknot fan, but he's also as much a fan of other bands like Motionless and White as well as I am. And John's a huge Behemoth fan.
Yep.
Which is also a cool band that tours with Slipknot every now and then.
Yeah, they did. They did tour with Slipknot.
So,
You don't know Dave's yet.
I think Dave likes Lost Up.
Yeah,
He can speak for himself,
all
though.
over there.
Yeah.
From Mudvayne to Led Zeppelin. I don't know. There's just a little bit of everything for me.
What made John or what made Dave the final guy for the position?
He was the first one that asked.
Listen, we're kind of hurting, so if you speak up now, you got it.
So I was like, hey man, you guys
Actually,
looking for a bass player or something like that?
he wasn't the first one that asked. We had a couple other people that asked about playing bass for us. One person, they asked and they kind of downplayed their skills. Rather, they're like, "Well, I'm not really that good." I'm just kind of like, "Well, you're not really selling. You're not selling me on yourself there." So I didn't really get back to them too much. I did say I'd give them a tryout, and they never hit me back up. So whatever.
Yeah.
To be fair, when I joined the band, I definitely didn't oversell my skills. And I showed up on the first day and learned an entire song in like 5 minutes. So
Yeah, so that was
kinda-
enough.
It's usually a flag
that was
in
a
most
sell.
cases. So
The other guy that messaged us and wanted to try out for bass, he says, "Hey, I hear you guys are looking for a bass player." And I was like, "Yeah, man." And he goes, "Cool. What type of music do you play? What type of music do you play?"
how did you find us exactly?
Yeah, look at the freaking page. Like, how lazy is that? Go just skim the page and you can tell what genre we were.
Yeah.
But I answered him. I said we're kind of a deathcore sort of thing, and he goes, "Cool. I've never heard of deathcore. I've never heard of that before." I was like, "You know what? I don't think you're the right fit for this." Then it was the weirdest interaction I've ever
Not
had.
to defend a third party that I don't even know by name, but to be fair, there are people that dabble in metal and metalcore and never realize that death metal and deathcore is even a thing. It's possible.
I guess.
You're living under a pretty odd-shaped rock.
And yeah, in 2022, I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, if anybody follows Ox Terrible on Instagram, then it's pretty easy to find.
Oh yeah, dude, I love it. I love some Slaughter to
I've
Prevail.
always been in metal bands, but nothing this technical. So it's going to be an experience for me.
Get heavy.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to catch up with this crazy motherfucker. All it says, the two of you, I watched you more tonight than I have before. You guys are hell of musicians, right the fuck on. So keep it up.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
You just have John over here. Dave's like, "You're me."
I talked to John last time. I was like, "You're a hell of a singer."
Yeah, John kills it. I wouldn't want to have to do what he does.
You two are cool. You on the other hand, walk more.
Just do it different.
I like what you're doing, but just do it better. Oh man, you're playing good. You just played every note wrong.
That's kind of a good
Here, you
segue.
need to be here.
And then you need to be back here, but also go up here again. It's kind of a good segue into Luke and I's relationship.
I'm still
as
pretty
musicians,
new
but-
to the group, so I got a lot of music to learn.
Out of all them songs, so are you narrowing it down for him, or is it just like here it is?
Here it is.
Here's what we play live currently, and we'll probably be on the album, and there'll be a couple more
Picking a
songs.
song to which one speaks to me the most at first, and then I can learn this real quick, and then I'm just doing one at a time.
Yeah.
One at a time. And like I said, this is only 3 practices in technically, so
Yeah.
slowly, but I'm getting it.
Do you guys have any shows coming up?
Nothing is booked right now. We wanted to take this time off to kind of get solid with the new lineup and get the album. Most importantly, get the album out or done.
Ready.
Yeah.
Are there any album titles that may?
Oh,
We got 2 floating around. It depends on what we do,
We
though.
got a few. What were they? My Impending Nihilistic
So-
End. the acronym MINE.
That one will be a surprising track when the fans get to hear it.
Yeah, that could be its own single.
It'll probably be.
It's very different than everything else.
Yeah.
It almost makes for an instrument dynamic.
My Impending Nihilistic End. Mine. And then there's also another. Is it? Oh, Nothing to Exist For.
Nothing to Exist For is
as
the
a
one.
potential album title and also a song.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still workshopping ideas.
Yeah, there's plenty of time.
Yeah.
When it comes to lyrics, are you the sole provider, or?
To this point, I've written all of our stuff except for, My Impending Nihilistic End, which I haven't seen yet, but Doug's writing the lyrics for that.
Oh, nice.
So we decided to change it up a little bit. But yeah, I've done everything else.
That might be the first Torn Asunder ballad. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
It might. Yeah, we might have a ballad here.
I think you got the band to pull it off, though.
Oh yeah.
I feel like you guys could do just
like a heavy ballad. Yeah.
That's kind of John and I joke about that because like I'll write something like that and then it's like a week later I'm just sending him this massive set of just hammering 220 BPM, just slamming palm mutated riff. He's like, listen, it's like, oh, so we're going back heavy again. Like, we never stopped going heavy. We're just going to do whatever comes up at the time, and then that's going to be us. It's like, I'm not going to limit us to, we're that band that just plays heavy shit and San Diego, but like even our lighter, like if you would even call it lighter, like I'd argue that NTEF isn't actually that heavy. It's just extremely dynamic and technical. But when you dive into the cosmic ambient kind of style of it, it gets more massive out of that sound and almost has a heavier, more oppressing feel to it. I don't know if that's the word. It just it has a presence to it that it isn't just like blowing through a riff and hammering drums.
It has an energy to it that like I want to jump when we start hitting that pre-chorus.
Yeah,
and then that chorus. It has such a great build up to it. It is that's supremely done. Like it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And NTEF is Nothing to Exist For. We use a lot of acronyms around here because some of these titles are really long. And
God, should we talk about crucifixion?
We couldn't come up with an acronym. We couldn't come up with an acronym for that because
that's another 10-minute track.
Yeah, we have another 10-minute track.
Oh, and
I have not written.
It's a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah.
And when it comes to lyrics, what are your what's a lot of topics that you tend to focus on?
Yeah. So, I wait till Doug is done with the track, and he'll give it a title, and usually the title sticks. Sometimes we workshop it a little bit, but like the title kind of tells me what the song is about. So like I take whatever Doug has written, and I try to.
For example,
how
Kingfisher is actually, is it a sarcastic title or a oxymoron?
See, I didn't.
Or is that ironic?
See, here's the thing. I didn't know what that meant, but
what you wrote is
the first thing that I thought was Kingmaker. And I was like, okay, so it's gonna be something like vaguely political.
Mm-hmm. So without getting too much into the details, but the actual Kingfisher is a bird, which means the sighting of this bird is considered prophetically good, basically.
Oh. Well,
that means that you'll prosper. That was the point. The whole song is literally the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And it's just this very heavy. You didn't get to hear it tonight, but it's just this very heavy, symphonically crushing track. Which
it's got a lot of slam to it, and that's funny. That was totally not planned. I just read Kingfisher. Kind of sounds like Kingmaker. Okay, I got something that has to do with politics. But my lyrics mostly focus on religion and hypocrisy, and I've actually written 2 songs with the same theme that's different. I try to vary it up a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's all coming from what I experience personally, and it comes from how I see the world. So I try the best I can to vary it up a little bit, but religion is a huge topic that I go with. But I have written 2 songs. Maya and Nothing to Exist For are both they're both kind of like they're both my views on, I guess, nihilism and / depression and whatnot. They are kind of a first-person narrative. Both songs are a first-person narrative. Like, the vocalist is telling the narrator is telling his story, right? And in Maya, like, it's a person who's basically focusing on how rough his life is, how bad his life is. And Nothing to Exist For starts that way. It's like the chorus is, like a sailing ship cast adrift with no guiding wind, nothing left to exist for. So it's like you're just out in the water and you have no direction in your life. And then I bring that chorus back and resolve it with something new to exist for, right? Found my way and all this stuff. It's a song with conflict and resolution to it, which goes very well with that ambient, music. It goes very well with that. And those two songs are basically two sides of the same coin. Like, I've said it before, social media has kind of made this popular, but people will go online and they'll bitch about being depressed. And, like, there's a time for coming to terms, like, coping. There is a time for coping with that. But at the end of the day, like, if you're not doing anything to better yourself, you're just going to be stuck there in that rut. And it kind of pisses me off. It's like, okay, you're depressed. So fucking what? What are you doing about it? Like, you are still an adult. You have expectations. Like, you still have to go out and do stuff. Both of those songs are, like, anti that attitude. You know what I mean? People who just, they focus on how bad shit is and they don't do anything to make it better.
Yeah.
It's something that I find kind of annoying. So I wrote 2 songs about it. You want to be like the guy in Nothing to Exist For who kind of figures it out and gets himself out of the rut. You don't want to be like the guy in Maya.
Well, being a sad boy gets you attention.
Yeah, it does.
Or just helps you write really dope music. Because I'm glad John actually discussed those 2 exact tracks, because it allows me to go into what I gave John, or what I had thought when I wrote the track, which hence the title for both of them, actually. So Nothing to Exist For is actually being a father, the first track that I wrote specifically as an ode to my 2 sons, specifically. So the lyrics John wrote to me are actually my 2 boys being on this ship. Into a future that's extremely unknown for them, knowing that I'll be dead long before they live it out. But so it's
you're the immortal one.
We're not talking about how immortal I am. We're not going into that. I am undying anyway.
Yeah, he doesn't sleep. He does not sleep. I swear. No, what do we do?
You'll get up for work and I'll be like, hey, new song, click.
Yeah, no shit. Like, you drove the whole tour. You drove, but like, what, 9 hours to Fort Collins?
The first day run with the live show was 28 hours without sleep, and then back was over 30. By the time I was done. But
yeah, I mean, this dude's a machine. Like, I've never seen anything like it.
You use FL Studio, right?
Yes, sir.
Is there any specific reason, or?
It was what Kyle had, and when him and I started bouncing ideas around, I wanted to be able to give him the best setup from the stuff I had, because we both also use the same drum programs. I just had a different programmer, slightly. So when I got FL, I was able to load in, because actually, so most of what Lucas plays is more his interpretation of a drum idea that I had for the track, and then he'll mix it as we play it more. He does more with it, basically, because the computer drums exist for everything we play tonight already. They're just not human. They don't have a drummer to them. So 90% of what we write, or what I write, I'll literally, and I can write it in any order. I've written tracks I've written a 5-minute song out of drums with no guitar at all, and then built all the guitar and bass back into it, and the synth and stuff. Or I'll start with a synth idea and then roll with that. But usually give everybody something to start with, and then we go from there. kind of new to me, but like we mentioned kind of how Lucas and I just play back and forth. So when we had been practicing at my house, before I brought Dave in, and main HQ, Lucas and I would jam a lot during the week when John was busy, and so Lucas and I would literally spend a whole night writing new songs. Like there's new material that didn't exist other than like I had a riff or two. And then I was like, hey, Luke, what do you got for drums for this idea? And then we'd just play and repeat and keep doing it until we had some kind of vague layout. And then I'd go back in, put it in the computer, and try and iron it out. So then I've done that a couple times. So really, I've been writing songs for probably about 15 years. And the last probably only 4 months is the first time I've ever had anybody who could efficiently write with me, other than John. But John writes vocals, so I can write the song.
John.
No, it works for John and I because I can write the song.
Sometimes I feel inadequate to be writing.
He's definitely told me on occasion that he feels like imposter syndrome sometimes, which I feel the same way. I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm not that good.
Shit, have you heard yourself?
I can do a lot of cool stuff. I can figure out how to do about any vocal style and just kind of do whatever on guitar. But anyway, so yeah, Lucas is really the first person I've had to actually challenge me to write stuff with them. Like my old band that existed over a decade ago, I was the main writer. Like nobody else in the band even had a clue where to start. So like I had to force myself to learn to be a songwriter. And of course, following bands like Slipknot and other massive metal bands that write these insane tracks, it's a great place to start if you want to learn patterns, shapes, and just all kind of technical shit about guitar, especially. But so yeah, Lucas and I actually write together, and it's kind of a road. It can be kind of a hindrance or a roadblock too, because I know that it's going to be frustrating for trying to work as a team, especially just because of like John said, I'm a machine. Like once the process is started, there's not a stop. Like if y'all got to go home, go to work, I'm going to probably be writing for the next 4 or 5 hours. Or I'll write the whole song in 45 minutes, and it'll be like, all right, we know what to do. Start playing shit, basically. Like I said, there's not really a process. I don't go, all right, step 1, step 2. It's just, or I'll be at work. Song came to me, or I got an idea. Then 30 minutes later, okay, so the whole song is on this notepad, and I need to just get home now. I can see frustration out of that in the future eventually, but
I just learned to let him do his thing, and I'll do my thing, and we all kind of do what we're good at, and fill in the gaps, you know.
Yeah, like John on occasion will eventually, when we started really focusing on trying to get the album laid out, which we still don't, we're at like 97%. But I was writing a new song, like, so yeah, remember I was supposed to focus on the album? 2 more songs now. And his exact response would be, damn it, Doug. Like, listen, you can't stop it. It's just going to happen. Like,
yeah, that's what I learned. It happens.
Creativity is not.
You gotta let him do his thing. You know,
let the machine work.
Let him work. Yeah. Like we'll figure out our shit eventually. And you know, I'm very much I like deadlines.
Gotta make a goal.
I like linear. Let's get this done. Then we do this. Then we do this. But with him, it's a lot of let's do this over here. Oh, then we're gonna go over here. But it's fine.
But it'll all come back.
It comes back.
When it needs to focus, it'll come back.
Yeah, and we make it work, you know, and...
Might be a little bit of undiagnosed ADHD, but as well as anxiety and a few other things.
Yeah, there's a sense of, you know, there's a huge sense of urgency on my part, because I feel like my life is riding on this album, like, doing well, so I'm stressed out about it, and, I want everything to be... I want it to be revolutionary and just as good as it can possibly be. Yeah.
I think you're in capable hands, though. I think the Lord's got you. I think they're gonna treat you good.
Yeah.
We're gonna make it happen, John. It's gonna happen.
Is there anything else anybody would like to say? Any band, side band you'd like to plug, or any anything?
Long live Ride.
Ride?
No.
No, you cut that part.
You wanted to know about Godslayer, correct?
Correct. if you feel like talking about it, yeah.
I can talk forever about
What part of it?
So the lyrics I borrowed from Friedrich Nietzsche, the 19th century German philosopher, because he wrote a thesis, a book called God is Dead, or The Death of God. And I borrowed the first line of lyrics almost word for word from Nietzsche. It's our God is dead, for we have killed him. What are we to do now? The monument's cast down. And then I go away from Nietzsche after that, but I do kind of circle back to some concepts of Nietzsche, but the whole song is a story about, because I was raised Southern Baptist, extremely religious, and it's sort of a story of my journey out of any sort of belief in deity. When you lose anything, you lose a loved one, there are several stages of grief. There's the disbelief, there's the bargaining, there is the sort of nihilism that comes with that, and then there's acceptance, and then there's a new way to go forward. And in the same way, that was what the death of God was to me, right? Or the death of my belief in God.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Oh.
And it was all a gradual process, and it's just one of those things, like when you're confronted with new information, you can either analyze it and take it in, or you can choose not to look at it and continue on the way that you were before, trying to insulate yourself from facts.
Yeah.
But Godslayer is another. I do a lot. I guess I do a couple of like conflict resolution songs.
It's an uplifting track.
Godslayer is an uplifting track that tells you you don't need to believe in a deity to have a meaningful and happy life. And that's what I've discovered, you know. Life is meaningful because it's limited. So each day that passes is a day that you don't have anymore, so you've got to make these count. So that's what Godslayer is about. And I have quite a few other songs about religion. Inversion, You and I, is about my parents. It is about, you know, when you're growing up, you know, your parents will tell you something like, don't believe everything you read on the internet. Well, the tables have turned.
Yeah.
The tables have turned, and it's like I have to tell grown adults not to believe everything they read online. It's like, okay, let's go through, let's try to do some basic reasoning here. Is that a fact, or is that something you believe? It's a fact.
Katy Perry is definitely a robot. Yeah.
And a lizard.
How do you know it's a fact? Well, because I believe it. It's not how, you know. It's tough, but I think it's really important to challenge people like that. I don't believe I can convert people, but I can at least challenge people, and maybe it makes them think about their worldview, you know. And I think to do that, you have to start with just a simple, basic list of definitions. You know, what is a fact? A fact is a data point that, you know, corresponds to the natural world, corresponds to what we observe in the natural world. That is a fact. A belief is something that you think is or is not the case. A belief is more uncertain. Well, you might have factors that influence you to believe something, but a belief is not verifiable, right? Because if a belief became verifiable, it would be a fact, whether you believe it or not, right? So if you can get to that point and start religious people there, I think that you could maybe make some headway. I haven't really done it yet with my parents, but I'm trying.
It's like a brick wall.
Good luck.
I'm trying,
Good
you know.
luck.
We're talking about a totally different generation, John.
Yeah.
I also grew up quite religiously as a Catholic. So
Yeah. A lot of guilt.
Oh
That
boy,
Ca-
I'm
that-
pretty sure I'm gonna die of my own hand with depression at some point because of the amount of guilt.
That Catholic guilt. There was a lot. There was a lot of that with the Baptists too, shaming and purity culture and all
They're really
that.
two sides of the same coin. Those two groups.
Yeah.
When I turn this off, I'll share when my faith died.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, oh, Yeah.
And I definitely want to say that, like, you know, I do have a couple of Christian friends, and I love them. They are great people. Like, not all Christians are the same.
Correct.
Not all. You can't categorize. You can't just throw people together into a group without actually knowing them and assign them character traits without actually knowing the person. But you know, these people that we'll talk theology every now and then, but I'm not trying to convert them because they're not actively out. They're not hurting people. Their beliefs aren't marginalizing people. Like one of my best friends, Blake Marriott, actually taught me a lot about evolution that I didn't know, and he's a Christian. Now, my counterpoint to that would be, you know, Adam and Eve is a myth, right? But without the Adam and Eve mythos, what do you do with the concept of original sin? Right? If there's no original sin, then there's no thing to be saved for.
Yeah.
Or saved from. So it's like Christianity is convincing you there's a problem where one doesn't exist, and they're selling you the solution to that problem. They're selling you the solution to an imaginary problem. That's my view of it. But either way, like, I do love my two Christian friends. They're good people, and I'm not trying to convert them because they're good people. So,
guys, I think this is the end.
Anything else?
Guys, wonderful. This is Teddy at HQ2.
HQ 2.0. That's what I'm going with.
With Torn Asunder. Awesome. Cool. Could you toss me that phone up there?